Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m., December 13th, Tuesday. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start with a prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage, that we may well serve our county, fulfill our trust. Amen. All right, and we've got
I will
minutes.
make a motion to approve the minutes of December 6th.
I will second. Any discussion changes? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right. Next, open for public comment regarding any of our pending resolutions. Is anyone? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and proceed. Dan Becker, County Engineer's Office. Sitting on that side of the room.
Yeah, somebody took my seat. But he's a big wig, so I couldn't say no.
Yeah, Forrest. Okay, that's right.
I've got 3 resolutions for your consideration today. The first resolution is approving the final plat for the Forest Glen subdivision, Phase 3. The second is approving the annual assessment for the same subdivision, Forest Glen subdivision, Phase 3. And then the necessity to close River Styx Road between Country Club and Smith Road.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 resolutions.
I'll second. Any discussion or changes? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Jeremy Cinco, our sanitary engineer.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
3 resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing change order number 1 for the Medina County Sanitary Spieth Road Pump Station Generator Improvement Project. That's just a date increase, no cost changes yet.
Good.
The second is awarding the Soil Scientist Service Contract for the 2022 Home Sewage System Replacement Project, and that's in coordination with the Health Department. And the third is authorizing expenditures related to solid waste district-sponsored meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 resolutions.
Second the motion. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Holly Murin, our Human Resources Director. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. We have 9 resolutions. First resolution is our personal changes resolution. We have 4 new hires, 1 in maintenance, 1 in sanitary, 1 in solid waste district, and 1 at county home. 5 rate increases, 2 in sanitary and 3 in maintenance. 1 leave of absence at Job and Family Services, 1 return from leave at Job and Family Services, and 1 resignation in transit. Second resolution is amending the table of organization for Medina County Commissioners. Third resolution is approving wage increases for employees of the Maintenance Department, maintenance repair workers. Fourth resolution is approving wage increases for employees of the Sanitary Engineering Department, line maintenance. Fifth resolution is approving wage increases for employees of the sanitary engineers treatment plants. Sixth resolution is approving the wage increases for employees of the sanitary engineers department water distribution workers. Seventh is approving the wage increases for employees of the Medina County Child Support Enforcement Agency. Eighth resolution is approving wage increases for employees of the sanitary engineers department lab technicians. And the 9th resolution is approving the wage increases for employees of the Medina County Public Transit drivers.
I'll make a motion to approve the 9 resolutions.
I will second the motion. Any discussion? I would point out that we are amending our table of organization to include the addition of a finance director. We haven't had one in a number of years. The intent is with the impending retirement of Scott Miller, we're going to be, if you will, moving some people forward, county administrator, and then we're creating the finance director to take over that department and those functions. So we'll be looking for, as I understand at the CCO conference last week, I was letting people know, and this is going to be a tough time to find good quality people, no doubt. And so we need to get the word out. Any good people that have worked in public finance and so forth, please feel free to apply. We'd like to have some good candidates to consider and kind of join the team and prepare for the big changes next year. So with that, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Lyon Galvin, our Assistant County Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have 13 resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first one is amending the appropriation measure resolution. The second is amending the 22 appropriations resolution by transferring appropriations. The third is expenditure adjustments for various funds. Fourth is cash transfers for various funds. The fifth is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from various county department accounts to the Medina County Print Shop revenue line item. The sixth is approving the submission of a program funding amendment for the Felony Delinquent Care Reclaim Grant. The seventh is accepting and awarding bids for diesel fuel at the highway garage. I'll only point out we've all found this to be rather interesting. This was a bidding process that we were able to participate in with Portage Area Regional
PARTA,
Transportation Authority, PARTA. Last year they had 6 bidders. This year they had only 2. You'll note the price. It's Sunoco doing business as Gladieux for $2.8832 per gallon for diesel fuel, and they were expecting those prices to come in significantly higher. So they were pleased to see it is an increase. It's about a 27.5% increase over what was paid per gallon last year, but still was under what they were expecting it could be with the volatility of the market. So that award is to Sunoco at that $2.8832 per gallon.
The disparity between the two bids.
Correct. And to be honest with you,
yeah.
Working with Elsie and Drayton at the garage, I mean, they were fantastic and quick and very responsive in locking in that price, because when bids are open, you have until 3 o'clock that day to lock in a demonstration of your interest. So we were quick to act on that.
Oh, yeah.
And
All
it's
right.
the same vendor, so there's going to be no change.
That's awesome.
In operation, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
The 8th is renewing a contract for the professional services of a beautician for the Medina County home. The 9th is approving grant awards to York Township and Brunswick Hills Township from the Medina County Comprehensive Plan Grant Assistance Program established by the board. That's the piece that Denise Testa spoke towards, $4,000 to York Township and $5,000 to Brunswick Hills for their zoning and comprehensive plan work. The 10th resolution is authorizing the county administrator to order vehicles as needed to replace vehicles previously ordered that are unavailable for lease due to constraints established by the car manufacturers for government customers. This is the 17 F-250 pickup trucks that were authorized for lease for the sanitary engineer. And because those are not available, these are now 17 Dodge Ram 1500s. The 11th is allowing expenses of county officials. The 12th is approving claims for the week in the amount of $2,279,993.11. And the 13th is approving a cooperative agreement with the Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority, authorizing that agency, the CCCPA, to apply to the Foreign Trade Zones Board for approval of an expansion of a subzone of Foreign Trade Zone 40 into Foreign Trade Zone 181 in Medina County, and authorizing the execution and delivery of related letters, certifications, and other related documents and the performance of related acts as may be necessary or desirable to accomplish the purposes of the application. And this is to assist a company in Valley City, this wage lock company, as referenced in the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the 13 resolutions.
I will second the motion. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Department updates. Shannon, Ryan, I saw you walk in. There you go. Good morning.
Good morning. One resolution for your consideration, and then I'll do a quick department update. Approval of the fiscal year 2023 transit agreements with various county agencies and organizations. It's an increase in the per mile cost from $2.75 to $3.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right, very
And a
good.
quick departmental update, we're waiting on our final numbers. The monthly report will be coming out in a week or so, but I just brought some data. Ridership is trending a little down on average, but it is the holiday, so. And our steering committee met for our final report on the strategic planning. It's a nice document. I've seen part of it. The holistic will be coming out soon for the steering committee and our department, and then published. Very happy with what we've seen so far and the recommendations. We've taken some actions on some of those things already with your help. Thank you for that. And we're excited about the Wadsworth pilot. I do have some speaking engagements coming up. The 19th, I'll be at the Wadsworth Public Service meeting, and then the 20th, I'll be at their city council meeting. Very welcomed by Robert Patrick, a very good partner for us. He's excited to see this come to fruition. Our software is being updated with testing coming. We don't want to bump into the Christmas holidays, so we're looking at right after the first of the year to get this launched. Want to make sure it's right, but we're excited about all the things coming. And the steering committee, I think, will be pleased with all their involvement and what we've been able to do so far.
I'm glad to see we're implementing, not waiting until we approve and finalize and do a final print on the comprehensive plan to actually do some of these items, particularly the flex in Wadsworth. Very excited. I know a lot of people in Wadsworth are very excited about getting that opportunity to be able to basically dial up and have a bus there and not worry about fixed routes and be able to get to and from where they need to go.
And talking to about 40, 45 people on a road the bus 2 or 3, 4 times, it really was amazed how quick they got on to what we were talking about, probably because the nomenclature of Uber and Lyft, but
That's right, yeah.
like the idea of not having to travel to destinations that there's nobody there. They saw right away, a few of them saw the cost savings on and also the efficiency for them and time.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
very excited.
Super, great, all right. Thank you very much, all right. Del Sappel, our dog warden, how are you?
Good morning, how are you?
Good, good.
Well, first I was going to thank Scott and congratulate him on his retirement, but he's not here. But I'd like to thank him for his support and guidance throughout the years. He's been a great help to me in my office. Second, the Medina County dog licenses are on sale right now, 2023. They go on sale from now through, well, December 1st through January 31st. We do have about 16.
They're great Christmas gifts. Just but
We have
never
about-
buy somebody else a puppy. Make sure that they select and then pay for their license.
Right.
Just pointing it out.
We have about 16 locations throughout the county. We have locations in Brunswick, Wadsworth, Medina, Lodi that sells the tags. So if anybody needs a list of that, they can call the shelter. We can let them know so they don't have to drive all around. Right now, I am at 3 employees, myself, and 2 full-timers. We are down 2 part-timers and a kennel worker, and I have a full-timer right now out on FMLA that's not due back till January 16th. So it's just the 3 of us right now, but we're doing it all. We're handling the calls and the strays and the adoptions, and currently we have 15 dogs at the animal shelter. Hopefully one goes home this morning at 10 o'clock. We have a dog that goes up, and there's 5 or 6 different people that are interested in it, so we'll probably do a drawing for it. Hopefully that will get adopted. Throughout the year, at the end of probably December, will be about 250 dogs total impounded at the shelter. So if it holds out that way, our placement rate, we're going to be about 99.5%. Out of the 250 dogs, there was 1 dog that was a dangerous dog, a bite dog that had to be put down, but that was 1 throughout the year. We've had about 140 strays this year, 65 owner impounds, and we've adopted everything out or redeemed it back to the owners, other than the few that we have there now. And other than that, that's about it. Don't have much else.
Awesome. Great job, 99.5%. Geez.
Yeah. Last year we were in the 99% range too.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
Last couple years.
Good job, good job.
Thank you.
Greg Brown, County Home Superintendent.
Morning.
Good morning.
Starting out with the census, we're up to 42 residents.
Good.
This month saw 2 new ones in, and there's another scheduled in January. Our staffing is still good, although we are advertising for a full-time 3rd shift aide position. It's on Indeed. events since last meeting. We had our Thanksgiving meal. Airmark staff did a phenomenal job. We had Tracy from Medina County Pie Company provide the pies for the meal. Medina Kids Care, the Clutter family, did their 20th Christmas party at the home on November 30th. Amazing. Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus were there. Elvis was in the building. It was one of those kind of parties. And full details in the commissioner's newsletter. We're also decorated for Christmas now. The Valley City Garden Club came and put the annual tree on the porch and then the one in the foyer. And then just last week, the Friends of Medina County Home, in conjunction with a donation from the Brunswick Rotary, we had our Christmas meal. This was the third year for Pickle Mamas, so they provided the meal. We always try to make that like the elegant dining experience. Tables are decorated well, gold chargers. That's the full 9 yards there for that one. The Brunswick Rotary also will be providing we do a Subway meal on Christmas Eve to give Airmark extra time to get the meal ready. And then some of the other events coming up, we've got ornaments and Christmas decorations that they're going to be doing. They've got a Christmas light display at the county fairgrounds they're going to go see. They've got 2 events at the OOA. One's a Christmas party, and the one is the noonish year. Where are you at, Laura?
That would be the New Year's Eve party.
Thank you. I told her I would get because it's on Friday at noon, and I knew I was going to mess that up. Thank you, Laura. Okay. And then, of course, throughout the year, but especially, of course, this month, donations from the Medina County community have been amazing. We've had donations of money, clothing, and food items that have just been pouring in for the residents. They've been really blessed.
Super, great. Good news.
Yes, absolutely. All right,
Thank you. Kyle White, LSU Extension.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Well, first of all, we want to give you an update on our move. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us. We are on track. We're ready, and we're just going to be. We've been in touch with Steve and with others at the county to move us along. Give you just a brief update of all of our programs. So, community development. I'm very excited to say, working very closely with the Lodi Family Center. We are doing Strengths Explorer classes for the youth there. Well, we're trying to. We're getting started. It's slow to get kids to try to take an assessment like this, but we got a grant to pay for the tests. I wrote a grant for $50,000. We're hoping that we will receive that funding for solar panels on our new piece of property. I'll let you know if that happens. I've talked with Stephen about that. Working with Medina County Transit on a possible collaboration for outreach. Leadership Medina County classes. I'm still conducting classes there. I'll be teaching there this afternoon. And also tomorrow for their Lead Institute and for the signature class tomorrow. Let's see. And do you have any questions on any of what's going on with the move?
Do you have an approximate date?
I don't. Not yet. But I'm in touch with Scott, so I'm going to have to get an update from him because I don't know what his plan is for whether he'll. I'm hearing he's going to be retiring, so this is news to me. So I'm going to have to just make sure.
He's
I'm on
here the
track.
whole first quarter.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Okay.
Have you talked to Stephen about the solar panels? Because I know we've had communications with a couple vendors regarding that on some other county-owned properties. So is that part of the discussion? Do you know?
It is not. It was just an initial discussion of what her thoughts were on.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, we are exploring on that, and
Okay.
in fact, we gave to some, we got more than one list of all the properties, and that was on the list for looking at it. Let's continue working on that one together.
Okay,
'Cause
yeah.
obviously, with the incentives at the federal level that they've added to it, and the opportunity to work with some of the vendors out there, they actually can build and kind of lease back, but we ended up, it's a real benefit financially to the county in terms of the operating costs, and certainly with the state, with the federal incentives, covering about 50% of it. That's worthwhile.
And what we were hoping to do too is use this as a teaching opportunity. So we were going to try to teach the community how much we've saved, or any roadblocks we've run into. So it's going to be, I think, a great opportunity if we get the grant. But if not, I'll still be in
Well, we
touch.
can add the grant to that other part of the deal, and to make it even more worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, like I said, including Stephen and Scott in this, with those vendors, would be good. All right,
Fantastic.
thank you.
And just a little bit more with 4-H, we've been very successful with volunteers. More volunteers are joining our organization. Car Teens program, Outstanding Seniors, many of this you've attended, many of these events, but we've been very successful with that. Family and Consumer Sciences, Aaron has been involved with the Office of Older Adults teaching Wits and Wisdom, which is it's a program for basically to test your brain, keep your brain moving. And Real Money, Real World, going into more school districts. Parenting Lunch and Learn series has been very successful. A lot of parents are concerned about getting their children to sleep, and Erin is working with them because she's going through the same thing right now. And Ag and Natural Resources, we did hold an early pre-certification in pesticide and fertilizer training because there are snowbirds that are farmers. So they are done, and we have new master gardeners. Our Ag Day, we are planning for the spring. I'm going to be putting out calls for sponsors, but you will be notified, and we hope as many here and that you'll attend.
Great. All right.
Any other questions for me?
No? Nothing? Great, thank you. Commissioners' resolutions, we have appointing commissioners alternates to the Medina County Planning Commission for 2023. This would appoint Adam Esker to represent myself, Cliff Nowak to represent Colleen Swedick, and of course, when we get our third commissioner early next year, we'll be appointing an alternate for that individual as well.
I make a motion to approve.
I will second. Any discussion? I just want to thank both Adam
Yes.
and Cliff, and that this is a volunteer position, a monthly meeting as well as some additional, and we really do appreciate their involvement and willingness to
And they have a lot to read
represent.
before the meeting, too.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
quite a bit, and sometimes they're
Right.
controversial, believe it or not. So, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right, we have a second resolution appointing representatives to the Community Reinvestment Area, CRA, Housing Council, and Enterprise Zone Tax Incentive Review Councils. This desire to continue to serve CRA, Linda Bowers and Stacy Tremonte and Joe McNeil.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second. Roll call, please.
Just for clarification,
Joe McNeil
Oh, I'm
is-
sorry.
Stolinovich is replacing Joe McNeil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to read that part. Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second. Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right. And we also have a notice of a liquor permit filing. Received notice of new liquor permit request from Boyert's Greenhouse and Farm located at 7171 Worcester Pike, Montville Township. This is for a C1, D2, and D3 permit class. They're not requesting a hearing, and this is just being provided for as a part of the record. All right. Now open up to public comment. Stan, you have anything for us, or anybody? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, duly noted. Now we'll open for discussion session. First off, we've got Forrest Thompson here. If you want to, I think you want to brief us on a particular item of interest called Scam Squad?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss this. I'm going to have Tommy Condosta from my office and Laura Toth from the Office for Older Adults join me here in just a moment. The subject is that over the past year or so, as we have seen a growing trend with individuals, particularly senior citizens in our community, that have been victimized by scamming. As we all know, scamming is far more sophisticated than the old, Nigerian prince scheme, and yet people still fall for it. There's been a considerable amount of sophistication and organization and infrastructure that goes into these, and it is a far more insidious crime than a lot of people realize. But time and again, we have run into a number of roadblocks. Number one is a reluctance for individuals to actually report that it's happening. Number two is availing ourselves of the resources that are available to us in trying to combat this and trying to stop this and to intercede. And that was based on any number of things. One is the embarrassment factor. A lot of folks feel as though they're losing their independence if this occurs. The second is a lack of actually accepting and understanding that this is even happening to them at all. And the third is the jurisdictional boundaries. Law enforcement agencies that are very, very well intentioned and working very hard, but run into one stumbling block after another because the level of sophistication has surpassed the jurisdictional boundaries of that particular department. And so after attending a conference or a meeting, we put our collective heads together, and I am pleased to announce that as of next week, based on a collaborative effort with the Office for Older Adults, my office, every single law enforcement agency in the county, as well as the Attorney General's office, the State Attorney General's office, state law enforcement agencies, and the FBI and other federal agencies, we have created a collaborative effort that we're calling the Scam Squad. This will be a flow-through operation that will take a complaint from either an individual or a family member or a well-meaning neighbor or someone who has concerns. There will be an 800 number that Tommy is going to talk about here in just a moment. That will be sort of a clearinghouse. We're going to be, at the other counterpart of that is we're going to be educating law enforcement officers on what questions to ask, what information is available to them, what resources are immediately available to them. So without further ado, I'm going to have Tommy and Lauren come up.
And everybody gets a pen today.
Come on
And
out.
I'm going to sit down.
Oh, that's right. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak. We feel this is a very important opportunity to combat the scams that proliferation of scams that we have in our county and really across the country. The FBI reported last year 74% increase in scams, resulting in billions of dollars lost. The average scam in Ohio cost the people over 60 years old in our state almost $18,000 a person. So obviously this is of great concern, and we feel that this is very important, and we're very pleased and proud to be presenting this. How we're going to work is, as Forrest Thompson had stated, we'll have a dedicated number. It's 1-877-SCAM-550. And we're going to promote this as vigorously as we can. And again, we would appreciate any help the commissioners would give us in helping to promote this program. It's a twofold program in that we want to educate the public and then we want to prosecute. So I was very grateful for the help that we got from the Office of Older Adults in trying to put together this program. And what we want to do is, if we can educate people, of course, as Grandma used to say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if we can educate the public as to the scams that are going on in our county and how to recognize them, that's probably the biggest part of all of this, right? Our motto is be aware and be wary. So we're going to promote that heavily as we can. And I'm very grateful that when I reached out to various law enforcement agencies, everyone was very excited to be part of this. So as Forrest has stated, I have a dedicated FBI agent. We have a dedicated federal agent, State Attorney General, very willing to be part of this. And I'm very grateful that locally all law enforcement got together and is on board. So we're looking forward to rolling this out. We were hoping to roll it out today, but our number is not ready because we're still waiting on the phones. But as soon as we have that, again, we're going to heavily promote this on every website that we can, ours, yours, and anywhere else that we can. We want to speak to groups as much as possible. We want to go out to the community and talk to people and present what you're facing, including how to handle that phone call that says, we're such and such a police chief in Texas, and we're holding your nephew and he needs bond money. So these are very typical things, these kind of scams, especially romance scams. What do? They tug on people's emotions, and they stay on the line, and they're very forceful. And all of a sudden, people are being drained of their life savings. And it's a shame, and it's terrible, and we want to do something about it. So our goals are to educate residents about the different types of scams, encourage residents to report scams. And we think by having this dedicated number, sometimes people are loath to get law enforcement involved. Well, they'll be talking to me. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to convince them that they need to do something. And I'm really confident in my skills to be able to do that. And hopefully we get success there. And then when these reports come in, I will disperse them to the appropriate agencies, because people don't always know who to call. What do I do? So I'm going to get as many agencies as are appropriate for this particular person's dilemma. And so the problem that we find with scams like this is the expediency factor. My discussions with the FBI, they've told me that within 3 days, that's as good as they can do, because after 3 days, the chances of you getting your money back are almost nil. And especially international scams, a lot of the countries we don't have pacts with, so they're not going to cooperate at all. So if these calls come in, I'm going to be immediately on it. I'm going to call the people that we need to call, and hopefully we'll be effective in not only preventing loss of money, but also prosecuting those who are trying to take advantage of our citizens. And anyone have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
So I presume you'll be keeping us updated as, because I am sure the demand is out there. It's happening. And obviously, once we, in terms of education, hopefully reduce the stigma of embarrassment, as they say, those have been preyed victim. But also, as we educate more people, you're going to get very busy. And I guess we need to monitor and make sure that you've got the right resources, because this is no doubt a modern day type of crime. It has exploding, and it's just not local enforcement education, but likewise coordination with the state and federal is going to be very, very important to help protect our citizens and hopefully recapture some of the assets that might have been electronically, conveyed. So I think if you can keep us informed and involved, we certainly want to make sure that you've got the resources to be able to accomplish that. The last thing I want to do is see us, try to, drinking water from a fire hydrant. All of a sudden, realize that how overwhelming it is. And I know at the state level, with the OST, Yoast, and others in law enforcement, this is a huge project, but it's very necessary to help protect the public. And I'm sure our lawmakers hopefully will be monitoring it and trying to make whatever adjustments they need. But I really do think that this is very important to protect our citizens, not just the education component to help reduce the number of victims, but those that do become, for whatever reason, that we're able to recover those resources and prosecute.
Thank you, and we do appreciate the support.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, I just got a text from the office that we got a call for a scam.
Here we go.
You should, I'm going to say, sure that's not a scam? Sorry. Laura, did you want to talk about the education component, right?
I'm going to give you your pens.
Oh, geez, thank you. All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I just want to thank the prosecutor's office, led by Forrest and Tommy, really have spearheaded this effort, and it's something that's so needed. Seniors are just in a unique position. Many of them are socially isolated, looking for somebody to talk to, and then the phone rings, and many of them still have landlines, and that's all it takes, picking up that phone, making conversation, and then one thing leads to another. About a third, I would say a heavy third of the referrals in adult protective services are financial exploitation. Something's going on with finances. That has increased since the banks are now mandated reporters, so they're looking at accounts, and if people are taking out large sums of money, and without an explanation, it gets reported to us. So we are very interested in educating folks about different scams that are out there. And to that end, I was able to use some APS ARPA money specific to producing things like pens, T-shirts, literature. We have literature on several different types of scams that we can give people, so they're very specific. We are educating people in our centers, in our newsletters. We just had the FBI out last week. We've had the Attorney General in, and we will have a Scam Squad presentation probably annually to let people know. It works very well in the digital literacy program, that the DIAL program that is starting next year. Part of that will be cybersecurity, keeping yourself safe online, whether it's on your phone or responding to an email. We all get emails. It looks just like Amazon. It looks just like the IRS, but it absolutely is not. And it's not only seniors, it's all age groups. I showed a text that I got to Forrest when we got here. I'm like, look, I can get $5,000 for holiday shopping. Click this link. I mean, it's just the things that are sent, and it's just so easy to do the wrong thing. So we want to make that right.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I went to a cybersecurity session at CCL last week, and there's one thing I think they emphasized is everybody's vulnerable. Just different degrees, and you don't realize how vulnerable you are till you actually see they're preying on the vulnerable, but everybody is likely. And the more we connect people, and of course we're spending literally millions of dollars to connect people better, that even makes them even more vulnerable. And that's the intent with DIAL, to help bring that up. And the person that was speaking was showing us how easy it is that actually, and maybe I shouldn't promote this, but you go on a website and actually buy packages to attack other servers, to actually mine information, and they actually sell it, and these are criminal tools that are available online. And every time they try to close down one of those sites, another one gets created, and it's maddening to think that we've got that kind of criminality going on. And but it just helps you recognize that first and foremost, you have to be very much self-aware. You have to be very thoughtful in your interactions, not only your emails, your mail, and your phone, but basically those that become more vulnerable, you need to work with your family and your friends that may be likely, and trying to help them, because it's so easy. They had one demonstration of the Geek Squad, the Best Buy Geek Squad. People apparently had been paying literally for the last number of months this fake Geek Squad, and they thought, and they went and and if you know anything about Geek Squad, you basically have a contract. You go and you take your equipment. Best Buy will go, you don't have a contract with us, and they had already been paying it for months. And even though it's a monthly fee, who'd notice? You thought you were going ahead and paying the vendor, and it's that kind of criminality that's going on. It's scary. So we don't want to shut people off. We don't want people to be afraid to go out and do financial transactions, but we want to help assist them to help guard themselves and their families and their loved ones. So I think what you're doing there is awesome. I think this is a milestone in Medina County history to actually have this kind of initiative, and I'm just very thankful for everybody involved with putting this together. And I think we've got, you all have your work cut out for you in the next number of years.
It's going to be busy.
And we really do need to, especially as we increase the vulnerable population out there by increasing their access to this. So this is hand in glove. This is something we need to do and focus on as a priority to help protect people.
I totally agree. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for presenting that. All right. Next item, Medina City Lease. We do have Mayor Hanwell with us. We had a previous discussion here regarding, I think, it was at our last meeting or meeting before last, regarding the
Thank you.
county's counter proposal to the city's previous proposal. All right, thank you. And I know, obviously, Commissioner Hudson and Scott Miller couldn't be here, so, and I know that you've had some conversations with them regarding this, so.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Commissioner Hudson asked if I could stop over, and I appreciate the time to kind of review and maybe address some of the recent discussions. So the city and the county originally talked through opportunities for collaboration with the brand-new court that is currently being finished up. In fact, a floor was planned for the municipal court, and there were talks of sharing costs at 20%, be it our one judge versus year 4 for a total of 5, or our one floor versus year 4 floors. But rent was, in the beginning, rent was never discussed. The city's opportunity, as you all are aware, was interrupted by requiring the residents of, or the voters of Medina City to weigh in on whether the city should get involved in this. As a result of that, the city lost the opportunity to take part in the new courthouse construction. So the question of the voters was their blessing to let us look at and explore renovating the 1969 building. So after the citizens passed that, we began to explore the possibility of moving into the 69. I'll just remind you that at one point, the 1969 courthouse was considered for demolition by the county, and the county, in working with the city, agreed to maintain the building for that same appearance on the square, which seemed to be a pressing need of the residents, not only of the city, but of the surrounding area. So when Scott tallied the numbers of the new courthouse construction, that number was $33,300,000, and of that dollar figure, 7% was determined to be shared space if the city moved into the 1969 building. So what we took was 7%, the shared space, times the total cost, and then the 20% that was previously discussed all along, be it in the new building or now in this case, the amount of judges is the same to arrive at 20%, or if you take the overall square footage of the new courthouse plus the 69 and divide it by the 69, that comes out pretty near 20% as well. And that number comes to $454,000 for the city to help defray the county's capital expenses. The city further agreed to 20% of the security costs and operational costs, what are still being determined.
Okay.
Do you want me to stop for a question?
No, that's right. That's
No,
right.
go ahead.
Okay. Again, rent was never discussed, and I'd just like to share with you there's a strong past history with the city and the county collaborating and working together to support our respective constituents. In October of 1962, the then county officials and city officials entered into a 99-year lease of the public square property for $1 for the entire term of the lease. For the last 50 years, the city has contracted with the county to provide sewer services within the city. That 50 years was expiring at the end of this year and was just renewed both by the county and the city for an additional 50 years. And that program is working very well.
Okay, so that's where I need to stop you. So we were given a comparison of your counter proposal, and the counter proposal has a lease cost annually of $70,000 a year.
That's Scott's. That spreadsheet is Scott's.
So this is not a reflection of your county? No, we have revised and then the city's counter proposal that we were given.
That may have been the original counter,
So yeah, this is,
and not the most recent one, I believe, if I'm looking at the documents correctly, but, okay, well,
that-
go ahead.
Yeah, that's not, okay.
Yeah, once I look at the document, I might
Okay.
be able to help.
All
I'm
right,
pretty
yeah.
sure that's
Okay.
Scott's, though.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so it is not unusual for local governments to support and help each other by having low or no exchange of funds to provide services to our respective constituents, in this case, both city and county. The Medina Municipal Court serves the northern 2/3 of Medina County, and many of these areas are unincorporated. In light of the aforementioned, the city feels that the rent should be deferred during the period of time that the capital expense or bond payment for 33 years. The city plans to renovate, remodel, and upgrade the 1969 structure at a cost originally of $8 million, but that may increase now with the increases that we're all seeing in materials and labor. We feel some credit should be given for the upgrades to the county building that will be a benefit to the county in the future, as well as the city taking overall maintenance, upkeep, and ongoing improvements, thereby releasing the county of such financial responsibilities. Scott Miller has advised me previously that his vision of the use of the 69 building, if the Medina Municipal Court does not use it, would likely be to move the county administration from this location to the 69 building, and the potential to sell off then this building if it's not needed for other county purposes. Commissioner Hudson recently told Council President John Coyne that the Board of Elections could be moved to the 1969 building to save the current rent being paid. In the past, the Board of Elections was offered the Medina Municipal Court building in a trade of space with the county for them to use that at no cost and us to use the 69. But when Scott toured it, after we arranged that, he said that the Board of Elections felt it would not work because there were no loading docks there for trucks. There are no loading docks at the 1969 building either. The Medina Municipal Court does remain available for such purposes, and the city is eager to work with the county on same. In closing, it makes perfect sense to have both a county and a city court operations at one location. It's better for the public, offers many efficiencies such as security, such as the Sally Port, such as even collaborations between the courts. I know Judge Warner with his Valor Court has already talked to the Common Pleas judges about some collaborations there, and also Judge Warner collaborating with Judge Kimbler on her mental health docket, and the Common Pleas Court for the drug court. And having all of those operations in one building just makes that more effective and efficient. And last, we hope that we may continue to work to obtain a reasonable resolution that's acceptable to both the county and the city.
I apologize. We may have to punt this till next week because I talked to Scott at length, and this is not what he talked to me about. Have you seen this before, Steve?
No, I just,
Oh, not
he,
this
Scott,
okay.
I'm sorry, Scott has not seen this. He's seen bits and pieces.
I talked to Scott this morning so that, I'd be prepared for, and this was more of what I thought we were discussing, the city's counter proposal here, and.
Could I look at that for a second?
Yeah,
Sure.
so I'm not so
I
sure.
think this is one that we had from the week before last when we were talking about our counter proposal. So I think that's an older.
Yeah, but we have revised
older-
and then
we have a
city's
revised one.
counter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two columns here. Yeah, so there
Well,
must be a miscommunication somewhere. I don't know.
I think that's what we're kind of suffering because the two individuals have been closest to sitting
Yeah.
down with you regarding this, or neither are here.
Right.
So I think there's some confusion there. Secondly, I know Bill had left a message for me as well. I talked to Scott yesterday as well about this. I think that we're going to have continuing dialogue. I know that there's pressure to actually try to complete this deal this year before Bill leaves. I don't feel compelled to complete this unless we have a lot more discussion, because we have a third commissioner coming in at the beginning of the year that could certainly weigh in on this, and we'll have to live with whatever we come up with. So at this point, I think we do need to have more conversations.
Well, yeah, I
about
was
the
prepared to
specifics.
discuss with the details that Scott
Sure.
had talked to me about, and it wasn't the same as this. So
Right.
I was prepared to discuss today, but
Yeah.
I think
What-
we're going to have to.
One of your key points is that you think that the rent should be deferred during the time, the 33 years.
Yes, sir.
And that seems to be probably one of the points of contention as to whether that rent ought to be deferred. And I think that remains for further discussion. On
And I
this.
think that's where the
Yeah.
miscommunication, because I don't
Yeah.
think Scott knows that. I will be, actually, after talking to him
Yeah.
this morning, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, each proposal from the city had a clause to
For lease.
defer for the 33 years,
Oh,
the
okay.
rent, and then begin paying rent at that point. Now, the document that was just shared with me, that was simply Scott's document where he added another column to include the numbers that we
Right.
sent over to him. And I had not seen that document.
And that's funny
until-
because my understanding was that the rent would happen for 33 years and then end. So it's like there's some sort of
Yeah, that would need to have some clarity on
Right.
this. There's no doubt. I think, well, obviously, next week is when we're going to have to continue the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yes, sir.
And
And
I do
that's fine.
appreciate, actually, I think you did a great
Yeah.
point counterpoint. Go on. For the,
No,
so
this is-
anybody wants to write the future history as to how we came up with this, you've got actually presented the public sides of this. So this is,
Yes, sir.
this is very good, as well as also helping indicate why 20% ends up. Well, no matter how you end up calculating it, 20% seems about right. Whether it's floor use of space you're actually using, whether it's the cost, the judge shares,
Yes, sir.
as well as you talked about. 1 out of
No,
5
it's
floors.
It's an
So,
excellent
yeah.
presentation, and,
Yeah.
and I absolutely agree with most of it, but there is some sort of miscommunication on
Okay,
one thing.
so, and I'm fine with, we're not in any big rush either.
Sure, yeah.
So we want to make it right,
Yeah.
both for the county and the city, and we want everybody to feel like they were fairly treated. So it sounds to me like currently the issue is the rent. And we're at 33 years out, and you're at day one. So maybe that's the area of negotiation we need to work through.
Yeah, I think.
But we'd appreciate
what-
further discussion.
Yeah, once we get the opportunity to both with Commissioner Hudson and County Administrator Scott Miller to sit down, have clarity as to what the proposal and counter proposals are, kind of weigh in. I'm not saying we can't close the deal before Bill leaves, before Hudson leaves, but it's certainly this is one where we can continue
Yes, sir.
to discuss.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll talk about it next week for
Well,
sure, right?
great.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I
So-
appreciate you coming over with the
You'll
information.
talk about it, or you would prefer that I come back next week too?
Well, I'll let, we'll let Scott make the determination as
Okay,
where
and
we're
then
at
he'll
in
let
that
me know.
conversation. Because I think whatever he ends up, and him and Commissioner Hudson are coming and saying that this is where we think we ought to be, we'll communicate to you, and if you're fine with it, then there may not need
Okay.
for you to come over.
Yes, sir.
So, but if there's still some areas of clarity and discussion, then you're more than welcome to come over and we kind of finalize it.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay.
great.
Thank
Eric,
you.
thank
Merry
you so
Christmas,
much,
God
appreciate it. All right. Continued discussion session, open up, Amy, do you have anything for us?
Just an update on that eCivis grant management software. I'll be presenting for your consideration next week. 2 resolutions, the first being the membership with the NCPA, that's the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. I thought we were members, learned we're not, but it's a purchasing tool. And then we did receive an updated quotation going through that purchasing pool mechanism, and it saves a couple $100, but it'll still be about $57,000 for the first year, and that's being baked into the budget that'll be also presented next week. But you
Okay.
will see that from me for that software package.
All right, super, very good,
Thank you.
thank you. Jeremy, you have any, nothing?
Wow.
Oh, my gosh, how does that happen? I don't understand. Holly, do you have anything for us? Stephen, anything? Laura, you've already. You do? Well, come on up, come on up. I thought you concluded everything. Well, that's right, it was Scam Squad only, so that's right, you do. I apologize, I forgot about our meeting yesterday.
24 hours.
I know. That was late yesterday.
Wow.
All those brain cells are gone. Good,
Here you go.
thank you.
I wanted to talk about the Office for Older Adults intends to submit a request for proposal to the City of Wadsworth to operate all food operations at the Suprema Senior Center Cafe space. This space, which I'll call the OOA Cafe, will be fully operational, open to the public for breakfast and lunch. The Wadsworth Restaurant Voucher Program, which is what we operate there currently, will continue and is allowable. So we would be allowed to be the vendor of the service and to use grant money to pay for some of those meals. This is a very new venture for older adults. This growth in our services is a great opportunity for the citizens of Wadsworth and the surrounding area to enjoy and learn about what OOA is all about. Make no mistake, I see this as a service, even though it is a restaurant. We will be the third member to inhibit the cafe space in 10 years, and to date, no operator has been able to make the operation profitable. I would love to stand here and say that the operation is cost neutral, but it has not been. Although cost neutral is going to be our goal, The likely scenario is a continually subsidized food service operation to some extent. As part of the RFP, if accepted, the Office for Older Adults plans to hire a Wadsworth kitchen lead and 1 to 2 food service workers to operate the cafe. The position currently of kitchen supervisor will be elevated and expanded and be called the food operations supervisor, and she will be over all Office for Older Adults food operations. So that's Brunswick, Medina, and Wadsworth. Our estimated personnel cost is $111,358. Food costs are subject to availability, and it is the greatest unknown in our cost projections. Our educated estimate for the first year operation is around $50,000. We will seek to contract out baked goods to a local Wadsworth bakery. We will be required to pay taxes for anyone eating food within the restaurant. Being a governmental agency does not exclude us paying taxes in this type of setting. We're seeking to have the ability to take credit cards and electronically accept payments, which will change our revenue stream setup. So I'll have to work with Amy and the new finance director on that. I anticipate the support of Medina County Senior and Adult Foundation, as well as the Wadsworth Older Adults Foundation, in the setup and operation of this cafe. The City of Wadsworth is contributing rent and utilities. I will continue to seek funding streams for the venture. I am requesting that the commissioners support this as well. Our reserves are well suited to take on a new venture, especially one as important as this. In saying this, our reserves will be somewhat depleted as we're taking on our kitchen remodel in 2023 that I've discussed previously. When we see where kitchen costs come in, I ask that the board be open to additional funding, especially in consideration of other projects that Older Adults is taking on next year, such as this one. In the next week or two, I will ask Commissioner Hambley to sign the proposal prior to submission.
Is this an annual contract with the center? Like, so it's 1 year to see how it
It
goes?
is 1 year, and then there's an option for 3 additional one-year
So
contracts.
we will have the opportunity without locking in long-term to see.
To
if
see
it
how
can
it
be
goes,
successful.
absolutely.
Exactly. This is meant to basically, well, provide a public service, certainly
Correct.
for seniors there. City of Wadsworth is interested in utilizing the asset. They've tried, as you indicated in prior times, nonprofits. If a for-profit wants to come in there and just out of philanthropy be able to operate, I'm sure the City of Wadsworth would entertain it.
Yes.
But there isn't. They're all trying to obviously earn a living. So at this point, a public entity coming in and providing this service to the seniors, not only nutrition, but obviously an opportunity for them to come together and also do some joint programming
Absolutely.
with the seniors. Maybe our scam squad can show up
Sure.
while people are having a nice lunch. But I think that this is the opportunity to provide that, and one of the benefits of having a human services levy that is provided, that enables us to help provide that subsidy for that and provide an incremental benefit, certainly a significant benefit, I think, to a lot of seniors, opportunity to socialize, educate, and also be able to get a good meal with some good food. So I think at a reasonable
Absolutely.
price. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to partner with the City of Wadsworth at the county level to help make this happen. And I'm in agreement, 1 year.
yeah.
1 year is a good time to evaluate that and the opportunity to continue it. Obviously, the devil will be in the details regarding, once we respond to the RFP, as to what the requirements are. We give a sample menu, but it doesn't guarantee those are the food items or the prices and so forth. That's an
Absolutely.
area of negotiation yet.
Yes.
And as we know, the one variable in this ends up being the food,
Yeah.
especially with vendors and what's available and all that. And you've got the expertise, you've got the ability through your staffing to be able to do this, then I think I'm all in to let's make this partnership happen.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really hope that I feel it's a strong proposal, and I hope it's picked up. I think it can do a great deal of service, and thanks for mentioning the levy, because there's no way we could venture into growth like this if not for that support, so
Super.
it's really
Great.
important.
All right, so you have, move forward. We'll
Okay,
do it.
thanks
All
so
right,
much.
Thanks. All right, who did I missed? Debbie, are you here for anything in the public? Okay, right, okay. And Shannon, you already did your thing, so, do you have anything?
I'm good,
for
except
discussion?
for July 4th.
Huh? I'm sorry. I missed that list. July 4th?
July 4th is a Tuesday
Oh,
in
yes,
2023. And we were going to discuss whether we
Oh,
should move
yeah.
our meeting to Monday or Wednesday. I would prefer for our employees' potential vacation and holiday to move it to Wednesday.
Right, right. I remember, but we also have a resolution of organization that actually the thought was to put all the dates of our meetings, and then we're gonna handle it that way. But I'm in agreement that we move
Right.
into the
Okay.
Wednesday.
It was on the
So
dis-
yes, sorry, I missed
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I know my discussion, we've got I think they've been working on a specific resolution regarding organization and meetings and all that, and we were just going to list in an exhibit every specific date that we are meeting next year.
Because that one was actually fell on a Tuesday. I wanted
That's
to make
right.
sure I had agreement to
Oh, yeah.
move it to Wednesday.
Yep, okay, super, all right. Right, I don't have anything else, so that we have a request for executive
I
session?
will make a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment of a public official and employment/compensation of a public employee, and to discuss imminent litigation.
I will second, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. Okay, that will end our live coverage. We won't be returning live, so that'll be it for today, and then we'll be coming back and adjourning at a later time today. Everybody have a good week.